Right, hey guys, how we doing? Back another video from Annie News. We've got another cut content video for the Overlord movie, and then after I've done this, I'll be up to date. Yay! I can't believe we're on episode 10, and in episode 9 he said we're like halfway through. I did not think there'd be this many, but I am totally down for it. Love seeing what was left out. So this is some dude that challenged Ainz. Like, what an idiot. Let's see what happens.
One of the most egregious cuts the movie has made so far, we were unfortunately neglected the entire battle between Ainz and Buzzer. It was here that Ainz not only wielded a sword again, but also tested his luck with both dual-wielding and halberd-style combat.
Damn, so they cut out a really... Oh, wow, what?
And while this was playful fun against an enemy who was stronger than you might think, Ainz also had an ulterior motive while doing so. He was gaining knowledge that could potentially be the difference between life and death for him.
Oh.
So, if you want to see how this one-sided beatdown unfolded in the novels, then stick around as we'll cover all of it. Part 10. The Grand King of Destruction.
This is just crazy, though. Part 10, alright.
After having cleared most of the Bawfolk in the city, Ainz and Nea made their way to where the ringleader was. The journey there was nothing short of a nightmare since in addition to the sight of rotting garbage and excrement everywhere, public displays of torture were prominent too.
Oh.
This the anime didn't show us, but in the distance men and women alike could be seen having been nailed to trees.
Damn.
Combine that with the fear Ainz had released earlier and the imprisoned humans would be left in an even worse state.
Oh, damn.
Their futile attempts to escape the fear resulted in their limbs becoming this bloody mess. Now, why was it that the humans were even being treated this way? Well, a closer inspection revealed that these humans were meant to be a barricade. Before Ainz had stepped in to stop the Bawfolk, their prisoners were actively being made into another type of deterrent for the paladins.
Oh.
Luckily, none seemed to be on the verge of dying, so aside from their exhaustion and their non-fatal flesh wounds, there wasn't really any immediate concern to do something. Still, Ainz would ask what Nea wanted to do with them, since the point of this raid was, after all, to save people.
Yeah. We've got to rescue them.
While saving them definitely seemed like the right course of action, she was a bit worried of what might happen if they were attacked while doing so. I mean, Ainz wasn't gonna stick around and evacuate with them, so if she was to stay behind and help these people, Nea wondered if she had the power to protect them.
To actually fight them off,
That's when Ainz would see Nea's uncertainty and, as such, would recommend just leaving them for now. There didn't seem to be any Bawfolk, so for the time being they were technically safe, just in pain.
Just
So,
suffering.
eventually Nea and
Jesus.
Ainz would get to the square, a marketplace littered with bodies of both humans and demi-humans. Just as Ainz expected, a lot of the bodies were from those who were trampled, an unfortunate sacrifice for their success in the future. Standing ahead of them now was their new enemy, the largest demi-human out of all the ones present. Not only that, he was also by far the most fearsome, since nothing was more terrifying than a demi-human with training. That being the case, Ainz knew that this was probably a king of sorts. He was only concerned with the items this king was wearing though, while the demi-human seemed far more concerned with Nea. Reason being that, at first glance, Nea seemed like the orchestrator of all this madness.
Oh.
To him, Ainz was just an undead, while Nea looked like the necromancer in control of it.
Oh my god, could you imagine? You've got like the most powerful person in the world, probably, maybe, I don't know, like there's other stuff potentially that we haven't seen. And then her, they're thinking, shit, this guy is just a skeleton. And she's controlling. Wow, how wrong he's got it. That's unreal.
So, while on guard for every and any attack here, Buzzer would commend Nea for driving his tribe so far back into a corner.
God.
He would then ask what her name was, a question with which Nea would immediately try to clarify things with. It was before she could say anything, though, that Ainz would go along with it and say that yes, Nea was his master.
Whoa.
This just went to fluster Nea even more, leading her into a panic where she couldn't even appreciate the joke Ainz was trying to make. Luckily, it did work to calm her down a bit, as Ainz's smile towards her made it clear he was just playing around. It was after that Ainz would introduce himself properly, introduce Nea as his servant, then threaten Buzzer just like how we saw in the movie. He would give him the choice between death and groveling at his feet. It's always nice to see Ainz act as ruthless as he does sometimes, since it's not often we get to see him personally fight in a close quarters battle like this.
Yeah.
So, to see how he treats a real opponent is always quite interesting. There was, however, one thing Ainz wanted to ask before he got started, and that was the use of the skull-shaped items attached around Buzzer's waist. Since all his other gear was clearly enchanted, Ainz was curious as to what purpose those skulls served. They didn't emit magical energy the same way all his other gear did. Such a question was one Buzzer could only laugh at, since as we saw in the movie, all it was fashion.
Yeah, he's just
They
wearing
were the
them.
best skulls he could find from the babies he held captive.
Terrible.
Here. Now, I don't think Ainz was particularly bothered about that, but he did find Buzzer's attention to fashion reminiscent of one of his subordinates. I couldn't tell you who exactly that subordinate was, but the importance of fashion was something his maids would always talk about too. In any case, with that bringing an end to the idle chit-chat, the movie would have Ainz and Buzzer engage then and things there. The novel actually shows the fight to completion, an outcome we already knew was coming, yet was still a flex I think would have been worth seeing. So, first Ainz would create the black sword we saw, confusing Nea as this was an arcane caster opting to fight with a melee weapon.
Yeah.
She wasn't quite sure why he had done so, but for other arcane casters, a choice like this would only have been made when they had no more mana to fight with. It was a
Last
scenario
resort
Nea
kind
had
of
a
thing,
very
yeah.
hard time believing Ainz would find himself in. Yes, he did use quite a few spells to get here, but if that was all the mana he had stored, then she worried for when he'd have to fight Yaldabaoth.
Yeah, like the
Nea
build
would
up.
then recount every spell Ainz had used, chalking up his low mana to the powerful undead he summoned. Since the high wraiths were far more powerful than regular ones, Nea could only assume summoning them cost a lot of mana.
Yeah, he's
I
good.
mean, it was a summoning spell that clearly dwarfed anything the priests were capable of.
You really
They
don't
could only
get
summon one entity at a time. Ainz
how
would easily
amazing Ainz
produce
is.
10. So that alone made Nea think this magic was somewhere in the 6th tier. I know that may not sound like a lot to us, but for the humans of the New World, tier 6 was unfathomable.
Yeah.
It was an unprecedented realm higher than anything she knew humans to even be capable of. That justified Ainz's choice to use a sword here, since to Nea, casting a tier 6 spell was likely draining. This then made Nea feel like she should probably help Ainz, but when looking at Buzzer, she knew she couldn't do anything.
Yeah, like what's she gonna
Besides,
do? Come on.
for someone like Ainz, Nea knew he wouldn't start a fight he knew he couldn't win. Like, perhaps Ainz was just as proficient with the sword as he was with spellcasting. There were quite a few benefits to being skilled with both. It's just to do so meant he would never be truly proficient in either skill set. So, was Ainz a diverse fighter with skill in both magic and swordsmanship, or was he instead a specialized spellcaster just trying something new? Nea was very curious to find out. Buzza would make the first move with Shield Rush, while Ainz had no problem blocking the impact head-on with his sword.
Nice.
Still, the force of it would send Ainz flying backward, as to absorb the speed of someone so large was impossible. I mean, there was the Fortress skill which neutralized all impacts completely, but that was only available to those who were warriors, specifically the strong ones. So, this was
Shame
a
he
display
had to
Nea
die, man.
couldn't
That was
believe
just
she was
fucking-
witnessing, as someone had actually managed to knock Ainz back. Their next engagement would have them clash swords this
And
time.
what a legend he
furious
was to
exchange
actually
of
go up
slashes
against
Nea's
Ainz.
eyes
Like,
couldn't even keep up
fuck.
with.
He had no
Seeing
chance.
this quickly filled her with relief, as now she knew staying back was the right decision. She understood now that to even attempt to help would result in her getting cut down immediately. It's then Nea would decide the best thing to do was hide, since the least she could do was avoid becoming a hostage. So she would take
Don't
cover,
make
then
things worse
silently
for
watch
him,
what
yeah.
seemed like an even matchup of sword skills. Both switched seamlessly between offense and defense, while Nea couldn't figure out whether to be more in awe of Buzzer or the caster keeping up with him. Where Buzza was one-handing this massive longsword, Ainz was managing just fine with his own two-handed sword. The whole thing was a fight on a level Nea had never seen before. Eventually, she found herself most impressed by Ainz, since his display of swordsmanship shattered every conventional belief she previously held about casters.
Damn.
It was so unbelievable that she started to think Ainz had to be using a spell of sorts. Whether he was or wasn't didn't really matter though, as with no headway being made from Buzzer's side, the inevitable outcome was all but evident. You see, being evenly matched didn't mean much when the opponent never got tired. Eventually, Buzza was gonna run out of stamina,
He's
while
gonna get
Ainz could
knackered,
keep
yeah.
going forever.
Yeah,
So
he's
the longer
undead.
the fight went on, the more Buzzer would be at a disadvantage here. Buzzer seemed to come to that realization himself too, leading to a twisted expression showing his worry. If he had an ace, then now would be the time to use it. Ainz would actually be the one to switch things up first though, hurling his sword, leaving himself defenseless.
Oh.
A dome of light would then activate to deflect it, a countermeasure likely built into one of his gear pieces. This then led Nea to think Buzzer had the advantage, but before either of them could react, Ainz was already holding a halberd now.
Yo.
Of course, Buzzer could only ask where it was that had come from, since as far as he was concerned, Ainz didn't even cast a spell to create it.
He just...
As it
wow.
turns out,
Oh my
Ainz
god.
had cast a spell silently. That wasn't really something he was worried about explaining though, as what was more on his mind was setting the right expectations. His skills with the sword may have been passable, but when it came to a halberd, that was something one of his subordinates had only taught him how to use recently.
Right.
It's for that reason
Cocytus?
Ainz wasn't
That's
very
his name,
confident
Cocytus,
and
yeah.
as such would apologize in advance for sucking. Still, the stance he took with it would create an indescribable amount of tension, putting Buzzer on the defensive as he wasn't sure what to expect next. Turns out Ainz wasn't really lying, as while his first attack was a powerful feint from horizontal to vertical, not only did Buzzer defend it easily, even Nea could tell the motions of it looked slightly awkward.
Oh no.
Like, just the fact Nea could see what was going on meant that the level of skill had dropped drastically. Buzzer seemed to realize this as well, and as such would seize the opportunity to go on the offensive.
It's a trap.
He would jump back
It's
then
got to be a
activate
trap.
Sandstorm, creating a massive wall of sand to obstruct Ainz's vision with.
Diddle-a-lay,
Two more
diddle-a-lay,
swords would then be
diddle-a-lay,
activated to increase
diddle-a-lay.
his speed and
Sandstorm,
damage,
sorry.
resulting in his strongest blow yet, aimed directly at Ainz's halberd. Nea couldn't see what the result of said impact was, but what she heard in the distance was the sound of steel breaking. She assumed Buzza had opted to go the route of weapon breaking. Unfortunately for Buzza though, Ainz's halberd didn't even chip from the attack.
Yo.
Where he had just assumed he was victorious, Ainz and his halberd came out unscathed.
Nice.
It was foolish to think his magic weapons were the same as everyone else's.
Never
You see,
assume with
while
Ainz.
generally most magic weapons were very fragile,
Rune man-
Ainz's were quite literally built different.
Runes,
It's
yes.
for this reason
Magic
Ainz would warn Buzza
runes,
against the
laddie.
dangers of stereotyping,
Samurai
since you
Jack.
never know when you might come across a weapon you can't break. It's then that Ainz would switch his weapons again, then ask what it was Buzza was going to do next. The tone of his voice made it clear he was unsatisfied with everything he'd seen so far. That being the case, Ainz would even taunt Buzza in hopes of getting more, saying he wasn't nice enough to let enemies that were useless live. This made it clear Ainz only had one singular purpose for Buzza, and that was to see everything he was capable of. The moment he no longer had any tricks was the moment Ainz would be done with him. Of course, Buzza still believed he had a chance himself, as really all Ainz had done so far was go on the defensive. Yes, he did block every attack Buzza threw at him, but if his plan was to keep fighting and hope to eventually win that way, Buzza felt pretty confident. This was the plan Nea believed Ainz was going for as well, making her a bit worried now that Buzza was able to see through it. What happened next though was the signature flex Ainz loves to do when he's done playing around with his opponents.
Yeah.
He would walk up to Buzza seemingly defenseless, then tank each and every attack knowing they couldn't do anything to him.
Nice.
That same shield bash Buzza had used to initiate the fight earlier was now absorbed by Ainz with zero impact at all.
Amazing.
So it was at this point that Buzza finally realized what it was he was up against and as such would stagger backwards in fear. As for why Ainz didn't do this in the first place, well, he would explain that it was to learn more about this world.
Yeah, he wants to know.
Since martial arts were one of the powers that didn't exist in Yggdrasil, Ainz saw this as an opportunity to experiment with them.
Right, I love that. It's like, wait, so when I played the game, this wasn't a thing. So I need to know how it works. Because it's always like a forward thing, and it's like, if I come across people in the future that could be potentially a problem, I need to know how to counteract it. So let's fight these people now and get it, understand it, gather the info, and then just kill them.
He was always concerned that if he one day came across someone the same level as him,
Yep, there we go.
perhaps martial arts might be the deciding factor in that fight. I mean, experience and knowledge in a whole field of power Ainz didn't have access to was certainly a huge advantage. It's for this reason Ainz decided to play with Buzza in the first place, learning more about martial arts in the process. Once Buzza had nothing left to show though, well, let's just say that was GG for him.
Yeah.
All Ainz would do
Goodbye.
next is
Good
remove one of his
game.
rings, releasing a terrifyingly chilling atmosphere immediately. Even Nea found herself wondering if the sun had frozen, quickly pinpointing the source of the anomaly as Ainz. There was this potent dark presence she could clearly see emanating from him. Now, the next words from Ainz you never want to hear from him, which is probably why Buzza would resort to the only thing he could do. He knew now to challenge Ainz was hopeless, so out of a combination of fear and desperation, Buzza would beg and plead for mercy.
No way.
He would put his hands up and surrender, offering literally anything if it meant it would let him live. So, whether it was information on Yaldabaoth, being the vanguard in his fight against Yaldabaoth, or all the treasure he's ever collected in his entire life, anything and everything was on the table now. I couldn't tell you whether Ainz was thinking of showing mercy or not, but the moment you knew he wasn't going to was when Buzza made the mistake of talking badly about Yaldabaoth. We already knew he was reluctantly serving Yaldabaoth, so when given the opportunity to fight against him, Buzza let his disdain shine through a little too much. It was a statement Ainz didn't really react to, but I'm sure such words didn't sit too well with him. So, seeing that Ainz still wasn't impressed, Buzza would lean more into the desperation plea. It clearly didn't work the way he intended though, as Ainz only seemed to be getting more and more frustrated. Still, Buzza couldn't stop himself from saying every excuse he could come up with, as panic drove him to speak without thinking now.
Right.
Eventually, he would find himself on his knees pleading for a mercy Nea still wasn't sure whether would come or not. I mean, this was how the Naga of the Sorcerer Kingdom said someone should act around Ainz. So, Nea felt no mercy for the demi-human in front of her, knowing such was the natural outcome for all of Ainz's enemies. She could only imagine what terrible fate awaited those that didn't immediately beg for mercy. It was then that Ainz would acknowledge Buzza's move as the right one, giving him a faint glimmer of hope that he might just survive. The thing is, with the way Buzza paraded the skulls of babies as fashion, Ainz didn't think making him a subordinate would sit well with certain people.
No.
Specifically Pistonia and Negretto.
Ooh, they'd hate it.
It's for that reason he would assure Buzza a different way, saying how he'd find use for every part of his body. It was once Buzza realized his fate was sealed that in a last-ditch effort he would say how he didn't want to die. Ainz would respond cold as ever, stating that this was but the inevitable.
Yeah,
For all living things, it was just a matter of whether it happened sooner or later.
they say, yeah.
Zero compassion could
It's
be
gonna
found
happen
in any
one
of
day,
these
mate,
words, so
and it's
with no
happening
options
now.
left, Buzza would attempt to run away as fast as he could. One can't just simply escape death like that, though, and that's exactly what he was trying to run away from. So, all Ainz had to do was speak one single word, then in an instant Buzza's lifeless body dropped.
That's crazy.
It was a sudden end to a battle Nea previously found so captivating. While the lack of spectacle was a little jarring, this was the way Ainz chose to end things. So, with the city cleared and the demi-human leader dead, the paladins could now move in and finish up the rest of the liberation efforts. The aftermath revealed the number of casualties was surprisingly small, an outcome the paladins knew wouldn't have been possible without the sorcerer.
Ainz, yeah.
In fact, they were starting to think that had they left the raid to him from the very beginning, then there was a chance he could have freed the city without a single loss.
Just by himself.
Either way, the streets were filled with smiles as the previously oppressed were now free.
Way.
Many were aware that their savior was in fact an undead, but their unfamiliarity with him led to a great deal of hesitation from them. Yes, they were grateful for what he did, but they couldn't bring themselves to fully accept him yet.
Yeah, you'd question
Most
it.
found it very difficult to even look at him. Ainz, however, couldn't be bothered, as where he was more concerned with now was the massive building he was heading towards. It was by far the largest building in the area, and it was what Ainz assumed to be the demi-human headquarters. So, that's where he was headed next, and it's where we'll pick things up in the next video.
Oh my god, crazy.
For now, I found it pretty crazy that they decided to cut this fight out.
Yeah, that is madness. That would have been cool. Like, oh, this should have been a season. This should have been a season.
I mean, realistically, I don't think it would have even been a very long one. If anything, it would have been a nice bit of action highlighting Ainz and his curiosity, then a solid flex to end things off. I think now we're finally getting back on track though, so we'll see how the next scenes develop with the rest of the cut content. Now, if you like this video, then leave a like, and if you want to see more, then consider subscribing. Until next time though.
Ciao. They really should have made this a season. Like, so much stuff that sounds so freaking cool was left out. It's just madness. That fight would have been sick. But anyway, thanks for watching.